Joining me now is my Forbes colleague, senior editor Dan Alexander. Dan, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You were back in New York City in Manhattan this week in a courthouse watching Trump's fraud case. What can you tell us?
Gosh, it was a wild week. I mean, the first thing was when Michael Cohen took the stand. Obviously, there's a ton of interest. This is Donald Trump's former personal attorney. And then sparks flew. So you had at one point Michael Cohen admitting under oath that he lied in previous proceedings. Then you had him going back and saying, actually, in one of those previous proceedings, my testimony was accurate. It's just that Donald Trump, he didn't tell me explicitly to lie about the value or to inflate his assets. He basically works like a mob boss, and we knew what he meant when he said, I'm worth more than what you have listed down. And then our job was to go back and inflate the assets. And we knew that it wasn't sort of an explicit him saying, go do this. So that was interesting. Then you had, at one point, a lot of controversy over the partial gag order in the case. So Donald Trump has a gag order that prevents him from talking about the clerk who sits right next to the judge during the proceedings. And despite that, he went out in the hallway in the middle of one of the day's proceedings and basically said this judge is super biased, and the person alongside him who might be more partisan. And then the judge called him back out and said, who were you talking about? And Trump's lawyer said that he was talking, in fact, about the witness on the stand, Michael Cohen, not about the judge's clerk. And then the judge held an impromptu hearing, put Donald Trump under oath, called him up to the witness stand, asked him who he was talking about. He also claimed that he was talking about Michael Cohen. The judge did not find that credible and fined him $10,000 then and there. So all sorts of fireworks. I was talking to other people who spent a ton of time in courtrooms who said basically that they had never seen a day quite like that.
Well, that's interesting. At least you were entertained, I guess. But I'm very, to say the least, to say the absolute least. But I'm curious about Michael Cohen's behavior in court as well as Trump's. What was Trump's body language like when Michael Cohen was on the stand, and what was Michael Cohen's like? Because as we all know, those two were very close for years. Michael Cohen was considered Trump's fixer, and now he's turning against him.
Yeah, so Cohen was on the stand for 2 different days this past week. On the first day that he was on the stand, I would say Trump came in, he looked angry. He was focused, just mad. And Cohen came in looking like he was enjoying the day, and like he was happy to be testifying against his former boss. Obviously, when he got on the stand, it's a serious matter, but Cohen was not so tense that he was not jousting with the counsel, Trump's current counsel, a role that he knows well. And basically acting like a lawyer, even though he was, in that case, a witness on the stand. So he was calling objections on things, and he was citing court precedents on things. And he seemed to be having a good time. The next day, I would say that the demeanors of both of them changed. Trump seemed much more relaxed. Cohen started out, appearing comfortable and confident. He was facing tough cross-examination during the second day, and at certain points got confused about what he was responding to, what exactly his answers were. His testimony seemed to be contradictory at certain points, and I think he still walked away with a confident demeanor. But certainly Trump's lawyers had, undermined some of his credibility through their questioning. And Trump, there was one really remarkable moment where Cohen basically gave some key testimony that helped Trump's side. Trump's lawyers then asked for the case to be ended on the spot. The judge said in this tone, denied. Trump stood up from his table and walked out of the room. Now remember, there aren't that many people in the room, and a lot of them are our Secret Service or other security personnel. So all of them immediately went on high alert, stood up. The whole place kind of froze when Trump got up. He walked out. His son Eric, who's also a defendant in the case, immediately followed him, and everything kind of paused, but the proceedings were still going on. So then, after everyone kind of caught their breath, they got back to action and continued the questioning of Michael Cohen.